morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going.
Recognize the situation you're in. Yeah, I am employed, yes, I have a personality out there, but at the end of the day, when I come back home, there is Mshwari, there is the KCB M-Pesa text, there is the Fuliza, there is whatever. So recognize your place.
What adjustments are we to make, especially in terms of our finances? What are we supposed to adjust?
You need to critically analyze your income. What's your source of income? If it's salary, how much do you earn? If you have a salary, if you have a side hustle, how much is the side hustle giving you?
Prioritize.
And if it is necessary for you to take a debt, which kind of debt can you go for?
Develop coping mechanisms, and in this case, positive coping mechanisms.
My name is MC Kalia, and this is the Morning Glory Show. It is the most comprehensive talk show in Kenya today.
Recognize the situation you're in. Yeah, I am employed, yes, I have a personality out there, but at the end of the day, when I come back home, there is Mshwari, there is the KCB M-Pesa text, there is the Fuliza, there is whatever. So recognize your place.
What adjustments are we to make, especially in terms of our finances? What are we supposed to adjust?
You need to critically analyze your income. What's your source of income? If it's salary, how much do you earn? If you have a salary, if you have a side hustle, how much is the side hustle giving you?
Prioritize.
And if it is necessary for you to take a debt, which kind of debt can you go for?
Develop coping mechanisms, and in this case, positive coping mechanisms.
My name is MC Kalia, and this is the Morning Glory Show. It is the most comprehensive talk show in Kenya today.
Recognize the situation you're in. Yeah, I am employed, yes, I have a personality out there, but at the end of the day, when I come back home, there is Mshwari, there is the KCB M-Pesa text, there is the Fuliza, there is whatever. So recognize your place.
What adjustments are we to make, especially in terms of our finances? What are we supposed to adjust?
You need to critically analyze your income. What's your source of income? If it's salary, how much do you earn? If you have a salary, if you have a side hustle, how much is the side hustle giving you?
Prioritize.
And if it is necessary for you to take a debt, which kind of debt can you go for?
It is Thursday, the 22nd day of June, 2023. My name is MC Kalia, and welcome to the Morning Glory Show. Hope you all woke up well, and of course, hope that everyone is actually doing well. So my plea this morning is that you do help me share the broadcast. Of course, last week on a day like this, we talked about finance, and today we're still talking about finance. So last week we talked about the adjustments that you need to make during these tough times, and as the debate about the finance bill seems to continue, and of course many predicting that it could go through, then we looked at some of the adjustments that you may need to make. Of course, we also agreed that the whole world is not doing so well when it comes to cash flow and when it comes to money issues. And so you needed to make a few adjustments. You also had a psychologist on set who helped you to understand how you need to put yourself up psychologically to make sure that you're not carried away by the wave of inflation. So this particular week, then we're talking about budgeting. Now, in a world where things are moving very quickly, in a world where, or in a Kenya where there is the finance budget, there is taxation, there is everything, then you also need to have some sense of budgeting and also planning so that you're now able to have financial independence and also financial stability. That is exactly what we are doing today. And with me this particular morning is Kipchumba. His name is actually Joshua Kipchumba. He's a banker with a vast experience in the banking industry. Of course, he's seen people lend money, he's seen people pay debts, he's seen people fail to pay debts. And this particular morning is here to just help us understand, how do I plan myself? How do I make sure that I have everything together when it comes to finances? But then before we go there, allow me to also remind you that we're coming live from Dawi Afrique Photography. It is the best production house in Eldoret. And if you need anything that goes into video and photo production, consider working with us. We've also promised to do you a safari, one safari a month, because we also have a branch of safaris. So this month we were in Rimoy. Next month we shall be giving you where shall also be visiting. And for those who went to Rimoy, they can tell you it was fun, or it was mad fun, because we actually had all that you could have when you want to have fun. So make sure that you join us in July as we also do visit some place. So with that, allow me to give a chance to our guest to say hi.
Yes, good morning, our viewers. I want to appreciate this time I've been given by Dawi to share about finances. My name is Joshua Kipchumba. I'm a renowned banker, and I actually advise people mostly concerning banking. I want to appreciate this moment that we can share this topic so that we can be able to navigate the turbulence of the economy and also changes in the economy concerning the bill which has been passed through. So it is my pleasure to be here this morning, and we shall learn a lot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And of course, if you're tuned in, help me share the broadcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend who is not watching that there's something they really need to be watching. And so the first question that comes to mind this particular morning is, why plan? Why would I need a financial plan? Is it necessary?
Yes, financial planning is very necessary, because you need to know how you can work within your means. Working within your means means that you work in line with what you earn, so that at the end of the day, you may not have obligation like debt and all that. So financial planning is very important, so that it can enable you to channel your funds in the right places that you'd like to invest your funds in. After paying your bills, at least you ensure that you save money for actually development. We are not only here to pay bills, but also we are here to grow ourselves. So financial planning and financial literacy is very important in your life as a person. So you need to learn what is finances, what is budget, because finance is a tool that you can use it to budget your money. It's actually a tool, you can use it to create and also spend your money wisely, so that you live within your means and walk out of debt.
Okay, let's first of all talk about, or let's do some little bit of definition of terms here. There's the word finance, then there's the word planning, budget and planning. Okay, maybe what does that mean? When you say that somebody has planned their finances, what does it mean?
Let me define finance. Finance is a science, or it's an art of creating money, and also it enables you to match your income and expenses. And also budget is a tool that you can use it to ensure that your money goes to the areas you've planned for. So planning actually is an aspect of planning your money by the use of a budget. So if you want to ensure that your finances are in line with what you want, you need a budget. So finance is a tool to manage money. And then budget is a method that will enable you to know your expenses. You also know your income lines, and now you can spend it wisely, so that you do not fall below, or you do not go away from your budget lines or your income lines. That's the definition of budget. Yeah.
And of course, we are talking today to two types of people. We are talking to people who have businesses. Then there are those who don't even have businesses. Maybe somebody is just earned salary somewhere, and they may not, in my assumption, is it necessary for everyone to have a budget? Is it necessary for everyone to have a plan financially? Because somebody else says my salary is just maybe a little bit small, can just do it by my mind, niseme hii inaingia hapa, and what is the, okay, is it that it is necessary for everyone to have a financial plan?
It is necessary for everyone to have a financial plan, because somebody who is employed and someone who is self-employed, all of them, all are the sources of looking for money. You can look for money by starting your own business. You can look for money by being employed. In a nutshell, we are all looking for money. So everyone needs a budget. And then maybe I can start for someone who is employed. Somebody who is employed is someone who has a static salary. You know that every month, for example, you are earning 50,000. So for you to ensure that that 50,000 will enable you to go through the month without feeling that towards payday, because most of the guys who are employed towards paydays, they go into borrowing. So the only thing that you can do is that you need to have that budget so that it can guide you on the important things that you need in your life. Also, for the person who is a business person, he also needs a budget so that he cannot take the capital for the business, and also to ensure that money is directed to the things that he had planned. Maybe I can explain the areas of a budget. For anybody to be successful, be it somebody who is employed or someone who is not employed, budget, there are some areas in a budget. There is a rule. I can say budget rule. Budget rule, you can subject your budget into a rule of 50, 30, 20.
So 50, 30, 20.
50, 30, 20. Meaning that if you are earning your money like, let's say 50,000, you need to subject 50% of that income into needs, which are very essential. These are necessary needs that will enable you to survive, the basic needs, the school fees, the mortgages you're having, house rent, and also food. So you know that 50% of your income will go to what? Will go to the basic needs, the necessary needs that you will not live without them. And then the 30% will go to wants. These are the things that you can live without them. There are needs. Needs are things which are very essential in your life. 50% of these needs can be also hospital bills. You can pay your bills, you can pay your mortgage, you can pay your rent, you can buy food. These are bills that you cannot do without it. Then the 30% are the wants. These are the things that you cannot survive without them. You can actually stay without them. Like wants can be something like maybe buying yourself a new phone, buying yourself a new suit, maybe buying yourself and something of which is luxurious. And then there is the 20% which is very important. This 20% is the one that will enable you to actually have something, a meaning of being employed or having a job. 20% you subject to investment and savings. Let me start by savings. The 20% you can subdivide into two. You can subdivide 10% into savings and then 10% into investment. There are differences between savings and investment. You can save money in the bank. You can save money basically for three reasons. You can save money for speculation purposes. You can save money just in case of emergencies. You can save money just in case maybe you lose your job. You actually need to have the savings. So savings is very important. So if you can, savings is actually paying yourself. When you do a business, in earlier days, there is a saying I like in Kiswahili. It says, kula tano, weka tano. So ukiwa umeshika pesa yako, tuseme leo mtu amekupatia 5,000, ensure that if you pay bills using the 50% of the amount, then the 50% of that amount is used to pay yourself. At times, we don't pay ourselves. Paying bills is not paying ourselves. Paying ourselves is ensuring that you have enough money for investment, you have enough money for savings. So for an economist, you need to pay yourself. Let me now talk about investment. Savings is basically saving money, maybe in circles, in bank accounts, and what have you, even others in chamas. There are those who are having table banking. Investment is whereby You take your money, you put it in fixed deposit account. This money will create other monies. It will have a ripple effect on the amount you invested. You can even actually buy property like land. You buy something which appreciates in value. That's now investment. When you buy a property, it grows. Savings is where you can store your money. Just in case you want to use it, you can get it out of reach. But investment, you can put it in SACCOs, you can put it in fixed deposit accounts in the banks, you can put it in a property like land. You can even decide to go into a upcountry. You buy livestock. You can even buy sheep. You can even buy cow. Something which, when you put your money there, your money will have the multiplying effect at the long run. So we need to ensure that those are the importance of a budget. When you have your money, subject your money into a financial rule, 50, 30, 20. It's a new rule that has come, but it is working for anybody who is employed. And savings can start immediately when you get employed.
Okay, and you say this applies to somebody who is employed. What happens to those in business? Is the same rule applicable?
The same rule is applicable in those who are in business. Because when you have your business, you have to manage your cash flows. You have to manage an aspect of money. Even this rule will work for somebody who is in business. In fact, it's a very important tool. Budget is an important tool for anyone who is in business. Because at the long run, you need money to run your business. You need money to pay your bills. And also you need money for savings and also investment.
Okay, and I know this sounds like it's a little absurd, but then what happens when I don't budget?
When you don't budget actually is planning. The simplest term of budget is planning.
Okay.
If you don't plan to succeed, you'll plan to fail. When you don't have a plan, failure will ensure you fail. So planning is very important. So there are two differences between somebody who is planning and somebody who is not planning. And what has made so many people to be in debt, so many people to live hand to mouth, is we lack that aspect of planning. When you plan today, anything that you care today, even if you care today 500, if you ask for today, you go outside there, you get 500 shillings. Always learn to save the 20%, the 10% to the SACCOs, and also the 10% to investment. Maybe I can explain how you can save. Maybe it is very important.
Of course, we'll come to that. But then before we come to that, let me remind my viewers that actually we are in the Morning Glory Show. With us today is Joshua Kipchumba. He's a banker, he's a finance expert, and he's here today to just help you to plan. He's here to help you make sure that you manage your finances, to make sure that at the end of it all, you also manage to pay yourself, appreciate yourself, and also be able to develop. If you're at home, help me share the broadcast. Let's have as many people as possible watching. And before you give us how to save, somebody asked a very good question here. That what advice do you have for someone who is finding it challenging to stick to a budget?
For someone who is actually it is getting difficult for him to be within a budget. The best thing is that you write your budget down. You put it in black and white. Then now what you do, you have a discipline concerning your budget. Because budget is a tool. It is one thing to look for the money, and also it's another thing to budget for the same money. So that person needs to have a saving budget habit. So what that person can do is that you need to take stock. You need to track your finances. What that person can do for him to stick to his budget is that he needs to write down all his expenses. What do you normally need in a day? Like for bus fare or fuel, for your rent. You can even subject your rent. You subdivide by 30 days so that you'll be able to know how much do you need to pay per day. So for that person, he needs to write down his budget, and he needs actually to calculate some sort of discipline and ensure he follows his budget. And by so doing, he will not have some impulsive buying and also do things which is beyond his his budget. So I think that person needs to actually write down his budget. He can even split his budget into long term, mid term, and also short term. So there are the things which are necessary for that person. He needs to list it down. Like school fees is necessary, food is necessary, bills like electricity, water is necessary. Also, communication like airtime is necessary. So that person needs to train himself. I know it is hard to follow a budget. Somebody, like in the beginning of every year, everybody has a budget. But immediately after 3 months, that budget is thrown away. Then we live a life of beating about the bush. When you don't have a plan, then any plan there can work for you. So it is high time for that person to realize that I need to save money for myself. I need to save money for investment. I need to save money for actually emergencies and also speculation purposes. So actually he needs to write it down and force himself. I know it is hard to follow a budget, but he can always try. And you cannot achieve 100% of what you've planned to do in your budget, but at least if you can achieve like 80% of what you've written in your budget, it will work for you. So I encourage that person to put it in black and white and try to force himself to follow the same budget.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And I think the hardest part that you've talked about in this is the saving bit of it, because many people end up spending maybe 80% in all these other things. And when it comes to that 20%, that is what remains. How do we save? How do we even in fact, I had a conversation the other day when the finance bill was being discussed, and somebody said we save after we have managed to sort out our needs and wants. Now, in this case, at some point, you find yourself in a situation whereby maybe you are living beyond your means. How do we assure, or how do we make sure that we at least now remain with something to save?
Saving is mandatory. If you make savings as a bill, as payment of bills, the same energy you use to look for rent or mortgage should be the same energy you use to look for your savings. It needs, like now, for those who are employed, NHIF and pension is automatic, whether you like it or not. Saving should be part of our mindset. It should be part of our system. So, and the best way you can save for those who are, I like those who are employed. For those who are employed, you can advise human resource management by a standing order. You can make a standing order that at a particular pay days, like for the bankers, pay days are 23rd, 24th, 25th. Those are the pay days for bankers. And maybe others are on 5th. So if you make a standing order that if my salary is 50,000 and the money has been taxed, then the remaining money, you need to do a percentage at 10% of your investment and 10% of your savings. Like for instance, if you are earning 50,000, at 10% of 50,000 is 5,000. 5,000 will go into savings, 5,000 will go into investment. You can decide as somebody who is newly employed that I can take a Shamba loan. I can take a mortgage. Let me use a Shamba loan. So if today you feel an offer letter to buy when you are permanent and pensionable, then you advise HR that on payday, 5,000 should go to my savings, be it Stima Sacco, be it Mwananchi Sacco, be it Boresha Sacco. So you decide from the pay point that when that money comes, that money in your pay slip goes via the standing order. We all know the standing order in the bank. It goes straight away from the pay point. Number two, your also savings, you should always make that standing order for your investment from the pay point. So there you can send money to Sacco, and also you can send money to buy a plot. I like plots. When you buy properties like plots, at the end of 5 years, even the price you used to buy the plot is not the same. It is one way of accumulating your wealth. If you want to enter into a club of millionaires, definitely, if you buy property like land, it will plunge you to a club of millionaires. I can advise our youth, most of our youth, when they're employed, they run into vehicles. Maybe somebody says, let me buy a car like Fielder, let me buy a Probox, of which the loan can be around 1 million. You see, immediately when you buy a vehicle, it will start depreciate in value. Immediately from the word go, when you remove the car from the car bazaar, it loses value steadily. When you buy a property like land, wherever it is, residential or commercial, that property will always grow. You see, people are increasing, but space is not increasing. So it's always wise to ensure that when you want to engage in a best investment, the best investment is, it can be land or even fixed deposit in bank accounts, of which also it has a small interest that will earn for your money. But the best that I can advise is maybe you can buy a property like land. So what someone needs to do, you need to set a standing order. And also you cannot withdraw money easily from the circles. When you send, like today, I sent to Stima Circle 2,000 and I sent to Mwananchi Circle 2,000. That money by December, I will have in Stima Circle around 24,000, and also I will have in Mwananchi Circle like 24,000. If you can stop someone today and tell someone, hey, kindly give me 24,000, he'll not give you. The best way to store your savings is not bank accounts. It is in circles, chamas, whereby you cannot easily take from that money, because we already have the 50% and the 30%, the 50% being for the necessary needs, and also the 30%, which is for the wants. So these other ones should go to a saving schemes, which you cannot be able to withdraw. And by so doing, you pay yourself. You see, if you ask someone today, you've worked in the bank for 10 years or 5 years, what have you saved? What can it be substantiated that you are maybe in a financial institution or you are employed as a teacher? What can you put it in table to be tangible that I actually worked for 2, 3, 5 years in that organization? What did you save for yourself? So the only thing that will enable you make use of the years that you rendered to the employer is by saving in schemes that you cannot withdraw it. Advantages of putting money in a circle. Maybe I can explain that one in a nutshell. When you put money in a circle, it has 3 advantages. One of the advantages, you get dividends. After every AGM meetings, which is always held March, by the closure of December the previous year, 31st December the previous year, you get dividends of the money you've saved. It can be 10, 12, but mostly it is 12%. When you get that dividends, you can even use to pay your school fees. Secondly, you can borrow loans from the circle. It is easy to get loans from the circle than in the bank accounts. There's a reduced processing fee, and you can get that loan within 24 hours. You can pay 4 times, 3 times your savings using guarantors. Or you can also guarantee yourself. You can also borrow loans against your own. It is called cash cover. You can borrow money against your own loans without looking for guarantors. So the ladder for you to grow your wealth is actually putting your money in circle. Circle is the best. An average person can have at least 2 circles. An average person who would like to go out of debt, because our issue here is debt. How can we live within our means? How can we avoid hand to mouth? We were not born to pay bills. We were not born to pay bills. We were born to enjoy the fruits of the land. And the Bible says in Hosea 4:6 that my people perish because they lack wisdom. When you lack knowledge, maybe let's say wisdom. When you lack knowledge or wisdom, always you'll get punished for no reason. You'll be a slave to your employer. You'll work for someone. Then when it comes to retirement, you have nothing that you've saved for yourself. And our journey of many miles starts with 1. If you save today 2,000, next month 2,000, come December, at the end of 12 months, that is a plus or a positive direction in your life. At least when even you have spent everything that you have, the 50%, if you have nothing, in your mind somewhere, you have money in circle, you have money in property. So I want to encourage those who are employed to consider the 2 things very important: savings and also investment. The same way we budget for our expenses, rental payment, school fees, it should be the same way we plan for our savings and also we plan for our investment. And by so doing, when you also retire, because you've told me to talk about retirement,
Of course, we'll be coming to retirement at some point. Of course.
Thank you.
So this is the Morning Glory Show. For those who are watching at home, this is the time to ask questions. If you have any questions to our guest today, this is the time to ask questions. Remember, we are coming to you live from Dawi Afrique Photography. So anytime also you need anything that goes into video and photo production, this is the place to visit. And now I can see Prop Arab Chepkieng says, tuned in from Nairobi. Good stuff, my friend Joshua Kipchumba. A good topic you have shared can help growing entrepreneurship industry. Thank you so much for that. Of course, I'll be sampling your comments as we go. Make sure that you send in those nice comments. I can see we have with us Kosgerap Chisir. That's our director. Is saying he's getting educated here. Thank you so much. Hosea Changulet says inspirational financial matters is where to watch. Thank you so much. And he continues to say, mzuri, hapo kwa kununua shamba ni safi sana. Thank you so much for creating time to be with us this particular morning. Ask those questions. If you have any comment, please do make that particular comment. If it is the first time you're joining the Morning Glory Show, click that notification button now so that you are able to receive notifications anytime we go live. Remember that today is the Social Square, which comes to you every Thursday. Here we talk about anything that touches on your life. So make sure that you do interact with us. Make sure that you're always here from Monday to Friday so that we have this particular conversation. Thank you so much. Calvas Kibet, who says he's locked. Thank you so much. And so as we continue, we've talked about the aspect of saving. We've talked about the aspect of making sure that you have a budget, maybe 50, 30, 20, to guide how you use any income that you make. Now let's talk about the issue of debt, the issue of borrowing, the issue of credit. How does this come in? When should I borrow? How do I determine that it's time to borrow? And how do I manage my debt?
Thanks for that question. Concerning debt management, if you want to manage your debt, that is borrowing, first of all, you need to save wisely and borrow wisely to grow your future. You need to save wisely, borrow wisely. Before you engage in debt, before you engage in bank loans, in circle loans, you must first of all save. Saving should precede borrowing. When you save, and then also in banks, there is a terminology, they say that they don't fund startups. You need to borrow for investment, to grow business, and what have you. You do not need to borrow to pay bills like food, rent. Borrowing, you borrow money because the money you borrow that has interest. So you need to borrow in something that will bring you profit. How can you manage your debt? The way you can manage your debt is one, borrow wisely. Borrow what you need to do your business. You can borrow money to buy property like land. You can borrow money to actually expand your business. It is not advisable to borrow money to pay domestic bills, like buying food, paying maybe school fees. That should be sorted by the budget. So when you've done your budget very well, and you have the residual income, the money that will remain, you can subject that money to borrow money. Another second thing, one is you need to save. Number two, you need actually to pay your bills within stipulated time. When you borrow money, when you pay loans beyond the dates of payment, it encourages other interest rates. So if you can go for the cheap loans that does not have a lot of interest, for example, Shylocks, the worst loan lender is a Shylock. Shylock can subject you to a very big loans. You need to actually utilize loans like circle loans, bank loans, etc. Because bank loans now, they are at 13%. Circle loans, they are at 10%. So you need to borrow loans which are pocket friendly. That even if you borrow like 100,000, you may not return like half of that money. It's quite abnormal. At least if you can return like 10% of that amount, it is wise. So how can you borrow these loans? First of all, you need to have a bank account whereby you can channel your money. Let me talk to somebody who is self-employed, a business person. A business person needs to save his money. Another way is that you cannot grow without loans again. You cannot do milestone projects, big projects without the use of loans. So how can you acquire loans from the bank? You need to be saving oftenly. When you make sales today, you have a business. Let me handle a business person. When you have a business, you need to save daily. You can save via the pay bill, till number, or even you can go to the bank and make your deposits. So when you make deposits, banks always check statements of 3 to 6 months. Is this person able to pay the needed loans? You borrow loans when you know that at the end of the month, there are money to repay that loans. So when you have business that makes profit, you have something that brings profit, that person is good to borrow. Because loans are the ladders that can make you to achieve what you want in life. Maybe you have a set goal that you want to achieve in life. So daily savings in a bank will enable you borrow loans. Because when you go to the bank, they will ask you, give us your bank account. The banker will straight away check on your bank statement. Number one, bank statement. Number two, the purpose of the loan. What are you borrowing the money for? You borrow money for the business which is existing, not a startup. They don't finance a startup. So you need to have an already running business, because they will check on your analysis, your portfolios, what you make per day. So you need to have business which makes money per day. Then when you bank your money, you ask them to give you this amount of money. When you ask a banker to give you a loan, they will subject you to a rule that they have in the bank. Is this person having a capacity to repay the money? They will check the capacity. Number two, the ability to pay the money. So you need to have the ability and also the reason for borrowing the money. Then they will see that this person has the ability to repay the money. You can use this money to expand already existing business. You can also use this money to do supplies like LBO, local purchase orders. Like you can have a tender, maybe at the county, at the government. That is now the right person to borrow. You can borrow loans when you have tenders, when you want to expand your business, or when you want to grow in your business. So then now you need to have that healthy banking. You bank daily and then you borrow wisely. For those who are employed, you need also to avoid over congesting your payslip. You need to at least remain with a third of your payslip. They call it take home, so that you will be able to live within your means. So you only borrow when you have expenses. So how can you ensure that you avoid debt? One, borrow loans which satisfies your call or need. Borrow when you need it. Then number two, pay promptly. If you pay promptly, you'll avoid some extra charges. Number three, if you can pay lump sum, if you can actually borrow loans, then you achieve what you want. It's advisable you go and pay the whole loan if it is a flat rate or a reducing. So you pay the whole loan so that you avoid other interest that the loan may incur. Thirdly, avoid loans which are like Shylocks. They extort a lot of interest on your money. They can give you money with an interest rate of 30%.
And maybe, sorry to interrupt, but then maybe you can have this conversation at a wider angle. Maybe give us how different it is to borrow from a SACCO, a bank, a microfinance, and also maybe a Shylock.
Let me start with a SACCO. It is easy to borrow from a SACCO because SACCO need two things. They need your savings and they need guarantors. In fact, the easiest way to get loans, the easiest way of all, is via the SACCO. Because SACCO SACCO will tell you save for 6 months. When you save in a SACCO like 5,000 every month, and you want like, if you want 300,000, you basically save 100,000. When you save 100,000, you actually pay, they give you 3 times your savings. And the interest rate, as per my knowledge right now, where I bank in the SACCOs, because I'm also a member of a SACCO, they subject to 10%. You pay in a SACCO with an interest rate of 10%. And in a SACCO, you look for 4 carandas. It is easy for you to get these 4 carandas. When you join SACCO, this is my advice to anyone who wants to join SACCO. It is good you join SACCO like 4 members. The members of table banking are the right people to join SACCOs, or those who are in self-help group, because it is easy for you guys to guarantee yourself. Like now, if I need 300,000, I will basically need 4 carandas. I'll guarantee myself what I have, and the remaining can be guaranteed by other members. So the rule which is in SACCO right now is that you need 4 carandas for you to borrow, and you can borrow 3 times your savings. When you go to a SACCO, at least I have like 4 guys who are banking in the same SACCO, so that this person can guarantee for you. Number 2, in the SACCOs, you can also do what we call cash cover. You can borrow against your savings. Like today, if I have 400,000 in SACCO or 200,000 in SACCO, they can give me 90% the savings in there. Like if I need 90,000, I need to have saved 100,000. You can even borrow money from SACCO without having the carandas. Also, there are mobile loans in the SACCO. If you call, like, for instance, Stima SACCO, you can actually borrow mobile banking, or you can borrow, in all SACCOs, you can borrow against your savings. So the easiest way to get money is through the SACCOs. We encourage people to join SACCOs. And also, advantage in SACCOs, you borrow from your savings. Advantage of being in a SACCO is that you can borrow from your savings. Number 2, the same money will give you interest after every AGM. There is interest and dividends that you are going to enjoy. And then at the end of the SACCO, if like now you want to buy a property, you can even decide to withdraw your money from the SACCO and buy the property. So SACCO is better than having the bank loans, because in SACCO, at the end of the day, you are borrowing against your money, and your money are in SACCO. Every month you grow your savings. You grow your savings. Then when you go to the bank now, the bank has a tedious process. 1, you must save in the bank steadily, because they are so keen on your bank statements. Number 2, you need to have your proposal right, what you're going to spend the money in. And then number 3, you need to have securities for you to borrow loans in banks. You can use a guarantor, or even you can use a property like vehicle. You can use even land to be your guarantor. In SACCOs, you can use guys whom you bank with in the SACCOs. So it's advisable. The best way to get money is through the SACCOs. Number 2, through the banks. Number 3, credit finances. Credit finances have a lot of interest on the money you borrow. They can tell you 3.5% per annum. In banks, let me explain the interest rate in the banks. In banks, it's 13.5% or 14%. It is also slightly cheaper. SACCO loan is cheaper, followed by bank loans. When you go to credit finances, it's a bit higher, because it is 3.5%. Others are 3.9%. At the end of a year, you pay 42% of the amount. So bank loans, credit loans are expensive. Then the last loan category is Shylock. There's no difference between a credit finance and a Shylock. All of them extort a lot of interest. Like now, like now for the Shylocks, you can pay 30% in a month, which is quite high. It is not pocket friendly. And immediately you default. The worst people are the SACCOs. I mean, the worst people are the Shylocks. They will come for your TV. They will come for your goods. and they'll actually sell it to recover their money. So it is good to operate within either SACCO or a bank loans, rather than investing in credit finances and Shylocks, because they will extort you a lot of fee in the loan borrowings. I think I've handled that question well.
That is quite clear. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much also to our viewers for continuing to follow us this particular morning. It is the social square of the Morning Glory Show. We are coming live from Dawi Africa Photography, that is in Eldoret Zion Mall building. And of course, if you are tuned in for the first time, remember to click the notification button so that next time we go live, you are able to watch with us. You can also share these with your relatives and friends so that they are able to get this particular broadcast and be able also to benefit from the nice knowledge that is being shared on this platform. This particular morning, we have with us Mr. Joshua Kipchumba, who is a banker and a finance expert, trying to help us on how to manage our money. And you've talked about saving, you've talked about investment, and this particular time I would love us to maybe spend a few minutes to just learn how to invest. And there is a term that comes to my mind: investment planning. What is that, and why is it crucial?
Thanks for that important question. Concerning investment, investment is very important. Before you make choices for investment, you must engage financial experts, or actually mentors concerning investment. And investment is one of the tools that can make you to grow yourself, to grow your property, to grow your money, and what have you. We've said in your earnings, just subject 10% to investment. If you can save 10% in your budget tracker, you ensure that you save at least 10% towards savings. It will enable you to grow yourself. It will also give you a meaning of being employed. An investment will carry you a long way to even your retirement. So why investment? The areas you can invest in, they're actually, let me explore two areas. You can invest in properties like land, even you buy houses, even in real estate. The best investment nowadays is land. Number two, you can invest in fixed deposit accounts. You can save money in the bank fixed deposit account. They can give you an interest of currently this 9%, 9 or 10% of your savings. Then if you have like maybe the best money to invest in a bank in those areas is like maybe 1 million. You subject it to 9%. They can give you 9% per annual. But the best investment that I want to talk about is that you can put your money in property, like land. Land nowadays is one of the best investment. You can choose commercial properties. Like for instance, within town areas, you can buy maybe a quarter, half an acre, or even you can go to the residential far away from the CBD or from town areas and buy maybe a 5 acre, 2 acre, 3 acre. And also land is a factor of production. They are the factors of production. One of the factors of production is land. Number two is labor. Number three is capital. So when you have land is a key factor of production. Because when you have land, even if today, for instance, you lose your job, you'll basically go to your plot. If you lose your job, you can lose income to pay your rent. But if you have your property, you can construct a house and live in your house. I know our young guys like living in areas like maybe Kapsoya, El Confuse, high-end areas, Pioneer, here in Eldoret, maybe Nairobi, high-rise areas, maybe at Kileleshwa. People like to live a luxurious life. But at the end of the day, you will not possess that property. So if you invest in land, when you buy land today, like you buy land with an amount like 600,000, even if you want to sell that land in the next minute, you'll not sell it at the same price. There is some interest you've gotten from that investment. So the best investment is land. Number two, If you see to it that you are living in urban areas, you are employed, and your rent is above 12,000, above 10,000, it's advisable for that person to take a mortgage. Many people fear mortgage. Many people fear mortgage. If you actually pay, you are paying a rent of, like now, if you want a 2-bedroom house in Nairobi, because I know Nairobi mostly, I was there. Nairobi 2-bedroom house, you start from 25,000 and above. 1-bedroom house, 15,000 and above. Instead of you paying rent in a house that you will not own it at the long run, it's like you are paying the hair. You pay a house whereby you cannot trace that income. So it's advisable for you, even if you will go far, a little bit far from town, we encourage young guys to take a mortgage, because there is only a small difference between the rent you are paying and the mortgage. You might adjust, like if you are paying 25,000 in your rent, mortgage you can pay a month 30,000. But at the long run, the house will belong to you. Even in line with the housing issue that our president has came up with, it is wise for those who are employed not to fear mortgages, because there is a notion that people fear mortgages. They say it is expensive, but it is one way of acquiring a property. So if you see to it that you have a small family and you need a 3-bedroom house, instead of you renting a 3-bedroom house in areas like Nairobi, Eldoret, or what have you, it is wise to take a mortgage or a loan and build yourself your property. You will even save a lot by building your property rather than buying the house itself. You can buy land and construct a house for yourself. Advantage of the mortgage. Like now in that mortgage, one, you'll own the house at the long run. And in that house you are living in, it appreciates steadily. When you value the house at the point of buying it and you revalue it after 5 years, you'll find that the house has gained a lot. So one of the best investment is property like land to mortgages. And then advantage of having the mortgage also, you can engage in agribusiness within CBD. You do not need to buy vegetables. Even in areas in Eldoret here, you do not need to buy milk. When you buy land and build your house there, you will arrest some basic needs which fall under the category of 50% rule. You can actually substitute buying milk, you can substitute buying vegetables, and you grow for yourself your own vegetables for domestic and also for commercial use. So we want to walk away. Being employed for the first time, I advise our youth, let us not go for moving objects. Let's go for property like land. When you go for property like land, you'll actually make a wise decision for yourself. So investment can be in property like land. It can be in a bank and fixed deposits, or even you can go home and buy livestock. You can buy cows. You can buy sheep. By the way, at the end of the year, you find a sheep. It can actually give birth twice in a year. A cow once in a year. You can also put your money in livestock, in life. You can put money in life. You can put money in property like land. You can even take a mortgage and you'll grow yourself. Those are the best investment areas that we can engage currently.
Of course.
You'll be doing well in your financial plans.
Of course, that is a big masterclass there by Kipchumba. And of course, if you are tuned in this particular morning, then there is need for you to smile and also nod and also take notes, because whatever is being said is quite crucial. And we started this at a very at an introductory bit. We've talked about the importance of budgeting. We've talked about the importance of saving. We've talked about how to save. We've talked about how to borrow and even where to borrow. And we've also talked about how to invest. Now let's talk about adapting to life changes. And in this case, as people grow, they'll get families, others will get married, others will get children and all that. How do you make sure that as you also grow through life and you are able to adapt financially to the changes that lives come with?
Thanks for that important question. We know that there are life changes in life. We live in different times in life, and there are changes in life. And somebody say that choices have consequences. The choices you make today will make you. When you make a choice today, that choice you made today will either benefit you after 5 years or fail you after 5 years. So the choice you make today, the financial choice, the family choice, the kind of life you want to live will actually determine your future. What you plant is what you will harvest. And everything is all about planning. There is something called the time and change. You cannot change time and you cannot change change. Always time will move. We cannot store time, but we can always invest in time. So time moves. When you make a decision today or not, time will make a decision for you. And then there are changes. Changes are inevitable. We need to align ourselves to changes. We undergo changes. Like even if you are so keen, the world used to be agricultural, industrial. Now we are in technological era. Before the year 2000, we used to be in agricultural, industrial era. But after the year 2000, we are in technological era. And in this technological era, things seem to move very fast, especially for us. There are the crises, the turbulence of life. So you need to align yourself to the changes of time and the turbulence that we see in the economy. The only way you can overcome time and changes is by planning. When you make a plan, you'll be able to overcome the crisis and also the challenges. We know very well that there are the challenges that has come to us, notably the COVID-19. It was a challenge that none of us planned for it. Also, another challenge is election. After every 5 years in our nation, there are the challenges of election. When the elections are being done, businesses go down. There are so many uncertainties that we have to live with. So we need to know that there are the challenges and the crises we have in life. How do we overcome the changes of time? How can we adapt to the changes of time? We can only adapt by planning. When we plan, we can be able to overcome anything that comes our way. How do we plan? We'll go back to our budget. You need to save money. Actually, one of the reasons why we save money is to overcome these challenges and turbulence of the economy. Because maybe in some years, like the COVID-19, we're told not to go to work. What are you going to eat if you don't have money in your bank accounts? So you need to save. So planning can enable you to overcome or adapt into the challenges or the changes of times. Also, let me come to family, to our youths who are not married. The choices you make today concerning your marriage partner will determine your future. Most of us do not think about how to make choices concerning marriage, because that's where the problem starts. When you don't have a stable partner in your life, you'll have a challenge in your house. You can either have a challenge in your house or you have somebody to help you to carry on in your life. When we make decisions to marry, let us be wise. Let us be wise. Let us choose character over the appearance, the beautiness. There is always a character beyond the beauty. The choices we make today, people meet in town, come, we stay, they do things so harshly, and you find that somebody has married. Or even what has resulted to being married is maybe you have a child. But it was not a decision to marry this person. Because one of the strongest weapons for you to grow your life is family. Where you come from. If you come from a family which is a peaceful family, you'll go far. If you have a challenging family, you'll not go far. It will affect you in your workplace. It will affect you everywhere, because you'll be having domestic violences and what have you. So you need to make right choices straight away from the family. One is right choices concerning your family. Number two, right choices concerning your income. Income is where you need to make your right choices. Number 3 is character. You need to groom yourself in a way that you can send yourself. Unaweza jituma. Everything boils down to character. Let me start with character. Character, family, financial choices. If you are a person of a good character, even employment will attract you. We need to teach ourselves not to look for money. Let's build character in ourselves, and money will come. You are like gold. You see, gold attracts money. When you build character, when you build values, when you model yourself in a good character values, you will attract even good wife, good husband, you will attract employment, and success will follow you. And character, success is as a result of following the commandments. You follow the laws of the land. When you are somebody of good character, always, you will not become somebody of anarchy, somebody who can break the rules. So it boils down to your character. Then number 2, family. Then number 3, choices of your investment plans, choices of your education. It is good to go for education. It is good to study. It is good to go to church. Those are the values that will guide your life. It is good to associate with those good peer group friends. Actually, your company means a lot. Bad company rules ruins good morals. So we want to encourage our youth that the person you associate yourself with will dictate your success. It will dictate your life. So for you to overcome the turbulence, you need to align yourself with what we are seeing right now. And based on the users of crisis, if there is a crisis, there is an opportunity. When there was COVID-19, those who could employ the technology like you guys, Tafik, I really appreciate you guys for what you're doing. You moved towards the technological space, wall. Anybody who was good in technology was able to survive the turbulence of COVID-19. So we need to embrace technology. That is one of the ways that we need to overcome the changing times. 1, embrace technology. Like the churches. Those churches who went online would retain the church members. Those churches who are traditional, the members stayed at home and they were not growing spiritually. 1 is embracing technology. Number 2, making the right choices. When you make the right choice from the word go, if you get employed and you make the right choice, after 5 years, you'll have a saving plan, you'll have a property. Employment life, business life is all about choices. Choices have consequences. It can be either a positive consequence or a negative consequence. 1, embracing technology. Number 2, making the right choices. Number 3, you seize the opportunity. When there are crises, that is when your mind is at its optimal performance. When there is no crisis, people will not think. When there are no problems, people will not think. Problems are the ingredients for somebody who wants to. It will move you from your comfort zone, and you think of what next. What can I do for myself? Actually, problem is an activator. When we have a challenge like crisis, it will enable us to actually pull up our area and think big. And then lastly, you need to save. Budget and saving. For the future, you don't know what future holds for us, but we need to save. When you have enough, when you've accumulated enough wealth in your bank accounts, in circles, that in itself will enable you to come out of crisis and challenges. So embrace technology, make the right decisions. Also, you are seizing the opportunity is one of the ways of moving with the trends of the times. And I think I'll have exhausted that area well.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Of course, as I said before, if somebody is seated somewhere, then they need to be really taking notes. Of course, as we come to the tail part of this, we've talked about all the other parts of life, and now retirement is coming in. how do I make sure that while I'm still strong, I plan enough for my retirement? Of course, that will be the last item for today, because I can see already we have less than 10 minutes, but then we shall continue to make sure that we bring you such kind of guests. We shall bring Mr. Kipchumba back again to talk about more of these things, because as I said in my opening statement, in a world where things are moving quite fast, it is also important that you are able to attain the right financial planning, you are able to make sound money decisions, and also you are able to make steps towards financial independence and also financial stability. Let's talk about retirement planning for a minute.
Thank you for that. Retirement is inevitable. We must all retire. We must all retire if we're employed. But a business person does not retire. That's a good thing about a business person. He doesn't retire. Employed person will always retire. Employed person will eat wages. A business person will not retire and will enjoy profit. Concerning retirement, I have two approaches concerning retirement. One, when you make a good budget, you will save enough for your retirement. The only solution that will enable you enjoy your life after retirement is saving. When you make a budget, consider you are going to retire. There is that time that you will not be able to go to work by 7 a.m. There is that time that when your body needs to have rest. There is a time that you need to have time with your family. So what can you do for your retirement? When you are employed, let me talk about those who are employed. One is you need to ensure that you know the life that you want to live in your retirement. One is know the kind of life you want to live after retirement. Ni maisha aina gani unataka kuishi wakati umeretire?
There is a certain joke that you need to really work hard so that when you retire, you play golf. You don't play draft.
Exactly. That again boils down to decision making. The decisions you make today, the decisions you make at the age of 25, at the age of 30, will either make you to golf club at the age of 60 or make you to take your last package and go and build a house in rural areas. There are so many guys that when they retire, mtu anasema ninahama Nairobi, ninahama Eldoret. Naenda wapi? Naenda Marakwet, naenda Mumias, naenda Kakamega, naenda Kisumu, naenda nyumbani.
Alafu anatupeanga story, niliishi Eldoret sana.
Imagine. So wakati ulifanya mambo kama hiyo, ukutumia wakati wako vizuri, then mwisho pesa utapewa mwisho, you not even
unaenda kusettle nayo.
Unaenda kusettle nayo au kujenga nyumba nyumbani, unajenga nini? Unajenga nyumba. And that money inakwisha. You see, that is the last bullet yenye umepewa. You see, when you're employed, one is, tumesema, ensure umechakua maisha yenye unafanya nini?
Yenye unapenda.
Unaishi. Let me talk in Kiswahili so that people will understand this. So, jua ni maisha gani unataka kuishi. Unataka kuishi maisha ya golf club pale Nairobi, Mimosa Courts and what have you? Ama unataka kwenda kuishi uko msitu reserve ndani. Mahali hakuna stima, mahali hakuna barabara mzuri, mahali huwezi pata hospitali mzuri. It is good when you retire, you can play golf, unaweza ishi hata El Confuse, unaweza ishi hata Karen, unaweza ishi, you live a top cream of your life. So maamuzi yenye unafanya kuhusu maisha yako, the decision you make at the age of 30 will dictate these 30 years utakuwa umetumia kwa njia gani. Actually, these 20-30 years will enable you to either live a good life or a bad life. One, know the kind of life you want to live, of which unataka kwenda kucheza golf, unataka hata kwenda clubs, you want to actually travel abroad, kwenda hata Singapore, kwenda hata USA, kwenda hata Turkey, starehe. So you need to know the kind of life you want to live. Number two, you need to make arrangement with your employer concerning your pension. If need be, make your pension to be more. Usingoje employer akuwekea ile amekuwekea. You can even add some coins concerning your pension scheme. They normally take to insurance brokers. So it maybe be it a PA, like mine, on Minet APA, you can choose a very good insurance investor. So make sure your employer Go and meet your employer. Ensure from the word go, when you are employed, your employer has saved something in your schemes. Number 2, other than pension, again, we go back to our circles and we go back to buying properties. If you buy property at the age of 30, you'll be able to safeguard your year of retirement. One, tumesema, kind of life you want to live, you need to know so that you can plan for it. Number 2, go to your employer, ensure there is a savings scheme imewekwa kwa pension plan. Because the pension plan is the one you will need when you retire. Number 3, make sure the choices you make right now concerning circles, investments are wise decisions. You can buy property at the age of 30. Like those who bought properties in Karen, Kitengela, Elgon View, those properties, when they are sold, it is millions and millions of money. So you need to save. Another way that you can overcome the same, usifanyie mtu kazi mpaka useeke. Early retirement is very important. You can retire at a young age. Never work in one employer for many years. You can always change. You need time to build your own business empire. You can work for someone for 5, 10 years. But when you clock age of 40, 45, you need to work for yourself. When you get employed, you can only eat wages, and that person will retire you. Wewe utakuwa punda mwenye umechoka, huwezi kazi.
Sema acha ipumzike.
Anasema acha ipumzike ama ipelekwe auction. Ng'ombe ilimi shamba tena acha ipelekwe auction. Yende ipumzike. It is not wise. It is not wise for us to be employed until our 60. We need, you see, employment is a source of looking for capital experience. When you have the capital and the experience, you can have a business in line with you can run parallel business with your employment. You can run your business and you run your employment. Shika employer na mkono wa kushoto, shika kazi yako na mkono wa kulia. Leo employer akisema ajisikii kuwa na wewe Kalia, ameamuka leo asubuhi ako na nuksi, akaona Kalia ni kama fanyi kazi vizuri, anaambia Kalia, tafadhali tutakutaminate. Kuna vitu haiende vizuri hapa kazini, inabidi tumefanya nini? Tumekutaminate. When you are employed, you are always on the mercies of the employer. When he comes today and he feels like he doesn't want you, he will vomit you. So you need to run concurrently your employer and your business. Because at the end of the day, when there is turbulence in business, maybe the company has gone into receivership. Kampuni haijiwezi, it has been declared bankruptcy or insolvent. You can always chip into your business. Even when you are employed, do farming at home, do agribusiness, have livestock, have your own agribusiness within CBD. You can even start poultry, you can start your business, and you can run these things parallel. You can be employed at the same time, you can run your own business. But my advice is just work for 5, 10, 15 years, then you start your own business empire. Because a businessman will never retire. A businessman will always eat profit. And then also, you will have the liberty of time. Time is very important. If you can manage your own time, you can do so many things. So if you allow someone to manage your 8 to 5 p.m. time, he will only give you time to go and sleep.
Then tomorrow you're back again.
So huyo mtu amekuchorea nini? Amekupangia maisha yako. So ni mzuri at least, hata ukipangwa, ukifika 40, wewe ujipange. Si kila wakati, nimeingia pale saa 2, nimetoka saa 11. Nimeingia saa 2, nimetoka. So it's always wise to think big. And when you think big, you actually employ your mind. You become industrious. You become creative. And even employ others. Even employ your family. Because the way to go right now is not to be employed, but to employ yourself. You can even start from the word go to employ yourself. It is not a must for you to be employed. Even those who are in school, let's change our mindsets. That we study to acquire skills to start our own businesses, to work using our own hands. I can just quote a verse as I finish. 1 Thessalonians 4 verse 11. I'll just paraphrase. It says, it should be your ambition to make it your business, to mind your own business, to live your own life, and to work using your own hands, so that you cannot be dependent on others. Live a quiet life, mind your own business, work with your own hands, so that your life will earn respect from outsiders, and so that you'll not be dependent on anyone. So that is my paddling shot, that let's learn to make the right choices, work using our own hands, and enjoy the profit. Let us not wait until when the employer says it is enough.
Sasa wakati wako wa kwenda umefika.
Umefika. Sasa hiyo ndio pressure inaenda juu. Sasa hiyo diabetes hauko nayo, unakuwa nayo. Pressure hauko nayo, unakuwa na nini? So for you to arrest these issues of pressure, diabetes, the choice you make today will enable you to live a life of ile maisha yako yenye iko flexible. You don't need to we were not meant to pay bills in life. We were not born to pay bills. We were not born to be slaves of others. We were born to be masters. We need to master our destiny. We need to be masters of our own lives. And that one boils down to personal decision making on the investment ways, family life, and also character that you need to calculate for you to enjoy the fruits of your life.
Thank you so much. Of course, it is a very powerful 1 hour, 15 minutes. I think if you've been watching the whole session, then I'm sure your notebook should be half full. Being a Thursday, I usually tell you that it's just an inspirational Thursday. Let's just when it is a social square, let's talk about everything that may affect us. Of course, economic is as social as possible, because without money, then you may not have the right moods, you may not have the right family, you may not have the right everything. And so thank you so much for creating time to be with us this particular morning, Mr. Kipchumba. Thank you so much. And as we continue to, as we exit the show, I just want to also encourage us that let's make the right decisions. If you have somebody you like or somebody you love, family member or friend who's not been watching this particular show, you can also send them the link. The link remains on the page, so it can be watched any other time, because we are here to make sure that we edify each other, we inspire each other, and at the end of it all, we improve the quality of life. On behalf of everyone who made effort to bring us the morning glory on the 22nd day of June 2023, let me say thank you so much, and God bless you.